All right, y'all. We are back again. And as always, man, if you watch my videos, first off, I love you and I thank you. You guys are only helping me grow. You're also helping me spread the awareness on addiction. And yeah, man, I really appreciate it. As always, man, if you're watching my videos, please subscribe. Please subscribe. I'm trying to hit that first 1K. I need the subscribers. Please subscribe. Please like the video. Please leave a comment. And please share. If you have a loved one that's battling addiction, young ones that may be thinking about trying drugs for their first time, or any of that, man, share this with the people. Let them see what's going on out here in Tucson, Arizona. Again, man, I can't say it enough. I appreciate my supporters. I love you guys. Thank you. This is going to be my 5th interview, and today I am sitting down with Mr. Hank. What's up, Hank? How's your day going?
Man, I can't be any blessed than I am today.
I feel that. How old are you?
42.
42?
Yes, sir.
And where are you from?
From Southern California and grew up in between LA County and San Bernardino County. Primarily raised in Ontario, California. Graduated from Ontario High School back in 1999.
1999. Okay.
Yes, sir.
That's what's up. Tell us a little bit about yourself. What was it like growing up in Cali?
Oh, it was beautiful, man. Like they say, it never rains in Southern Cali, and that's a lie. It does. But it don't rain that much. Very few days where it's bad weather. It's usually pretty good weather. You got sunshine, you got blue sky, a few clouds there now and then, but the beaches weren't that far away. So you get that nice marine layer, and then every once in a while you get them Santa Ana winds coming up from the high desert, coming down. But you know, overall it's a beautiful state. I'm glad to call it home.
That's what's up. Being a kid in California, when I think of Cali, I think of like hardcore gangbanging. What was childhood like?
Oh, there was plenty of that going around. Most of my family grew up in LA County. Then my parents decided to move me, my little brother, and my sister out to Ontario, which is in San Bernardino County. And the politics just don't agree with one another. So having to deal with that, which wasn't too bad, but being somebody from LA County going into San Bernardino County was a little rough. We kind of had to stand our ground, earn our respect instead of expect it. Where we lived kind of right on the border between one neighborhood and another neighborhood. I'm not going to put neighborhoods on blast, but yeah, it was quite interesting.
Were you into gangbanging?
No. I had some pretty good friends that decided like, no, you weren't. You're not built for this life. But I hung around with them. I knew what the lifestyle was. Everybody seems to think that I am, but no, I'm far from it. Family members, different story, but we're not talking about them. We're talking about me. Me myself, I don't disrespect them. I understand it, but this wasn't my lifestyle. I kept my head in the books and in sports.
In sports, what kind of sports did you play?
Pick one. I thrived in all sports, but what I really loved and what was my passion was baseball.
Okay.
Yeah, baseball was my sport. I loved it. I could throw, I could hit, I could catch, I could run, and I could hit for power. So it was one of those things where I was a rare breed of player.
Okay.
But
how did you do in school? What was school like?
I did real well in school. I called myself a jockey nerd. I ended up graduating high school with like a 3.3 or 3.5, somewhere around there. But I graduated on time. I went all 4 years, didn't miss any, went all through school pretty good. I enjoyed it. It got me away from home.
That's what's up. What was the household like growing up?
That was, for me, it was difficult. It was a little difficult, mainly because my parents were on different pages a lot of times. My father was real supportive of me. Showed up to every baseball game I ever played. I must have played over 1,000 baseball games. He maybe not have been in the stands, but he was always out there in the outfield, in the shade, underneath the tree with his chair, his umbrella, and his ice chest. And after a while, You'd see other Mexican families go over there and hanging out with them, just the dads though. Then pretty soon, but it was my mom. She was there, but she was more of the worker. She worked a lot. I can't say enough about her work ethic. I could tell you that's where I got my work ethic from. But we just bumped heads a lot. She did her thing, and she had my sister and my little brother, and I had my dad, and it was just that way.
Both parents were in the house though.
Ish. Like my dad was real old when he had me. He was 53 already when he had me, so he was already on his way into retirement. So he was a stay-at-home dad. My mom worked, and there was probably about a good, I want to say from 5th grade till freshman year in high school, I didn't see my mom.
She was always at work?
Oh, well, allegedly at work.
Okay.
We'll just leave it at that.
Okay. But as for that, like no abuse and nothing like that in the house that you'd care to?
We were disciplined.
Okay.
My dad stopped disciplining me physically and in about 7th grade. He stopped hitting me. He's like, you're about too big to be getting hit now. So not that he was afraid to, because I got 6 older siblings, 6 older brothers. They weren't afraid to whip my ass as much as and I was afraid of my dad anyway. He was even as old as he was, that boy had mittens on his hand, I'll tell you. But there was some discipline, but it was household was raised a lot on respect.
Right.
My dad had a ruled with an iron fist. What he said went, and we didn't. If you disrespected him in any way, you felt it. So we learned that real quick.
You're from the era of ass whoopings, right?
Ass whoopings and take names and kick ass and take names, and he knew our names already, so it was real easy. But but that's how we learned. We only did it one time and never did it twice.
Okay.
Because that first time he said, it was a message.
Right. So after high school, what'd you get into right after high school?
Oh man, females. I tried going to college, and then it was fun. I got into it, and then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna take a break. I left. Just wasn't for me.
Right.
I went out to Arkansas to go visit one of my brothers, and that's when I got introduced to my DOC.
Okay, and explain what does DOC mean for my viewers?
Drug of choice.
Drug of choice.
And I'm not gonna say where the source came from, but I was at a party, and I was like, "Hey, man, I want to try it," and he was like, "Okay," I had good supervision with me. I trusted the people I was with, so I knew I was in good hands, and I knew I wasn't gonna get anything that was gonna be too harmful.
Right.
And so at a party, there was a Halloween party. I was drinking and smoking some weed, which I didn't feel was too bad. But then this drug of choice of mine that I decided to try for the first time at the age of 19. Kind of liked the feeling, pretty good, and I didn't get hooked right away.
What was your drug of choice?
Methamphetamines.
Methamphetamines?
Yes, dope, G, we call it dirty white girl, some Scante, some shit, whatever you want to call it.
And your first time trying it was at 19?
First time trying it was 19.
What age were you when you first got introduced to like an illegal substance, whether that be weed or?
I got, like I said, I'm one of 13 kids to begin with. I'm number 12 down the line, so drugs was a big part of my family. At least smoking weed was. At least I thought that weed and alcohol, but I started smoking weed probably about 10 on a regular basis.
Okay. So yeah, around 19 in Arkansas, you got introduced to crystal meth.
Yes, sir.
That's what we call it out here in Tucson. How big of a role did methamphetamines play in your life after that?
Well, I'm 42 today, and I decided 67 days ago to finally call it quits.
So from 19 until 67 days ago?
Yes.
Have you ever tried getting clean or stopping in between? Or
I did. There was a period of time I stopped for 9 years, but I was abstinence, what they call it. I just dropped it cold turkey. Said I didn't want to do it, and a lot of it had to do with my home life. I was real content where I was at. I thought I was happy. Then as the years progressed, I mean, I was happy. I'm not gonna lie, I was happy. But come to find out that one little mistake that I made, it just turned everything else upside down, and I got back into it about 4 years ago. So I was abstinent for about 9 years.
Okay.
So you take the last 23 years, 9 of those years I did not use, and so you say 14 years I was using pretty good on a consistent basis, and I mean consistent. I mean.
And why did you stop those 9 years? Were you like in a relationship?
I was in a relationship with my ex-wife. She pretty much said, you know what, I don't want it in my life and my kids' life, and I was like, okay. I felt that she was going to be worth it. I mean, she was for the 9 years. I was fairly happy for the most part, but like I said, one mistake, and it was it. And
so let me backtrack a little bit. Were you actively using when you met your ex-wife?
yes, I was. I was not just using, but I was participating in other people's using. I was,
What do you mean by that?
I was a phone call away from people coming up to get something.
Okay, got you. Yeah.
It's just the way, the nature of the game, I guess you call it.
Right.
I really didn't pay for it because I mean, I did at point, but it was, if I paid whatever I paid for it, I ended up selling some of it just to make my money back, so I ended up smoking for free.
Right. Addiction. Did your addiction ever get you in trouble with the law? Have you?
One time, and it was, it's not that I was using. It's funny. I was just talking about this earlier today. Back in Cali, me and my partner at the time, we were walking to go bowling, and I had rules, and I had a set of rules for myself that I was never gonna leave home with it. I always did it at home. But this day I decided I'm gonna go against my rules. Took it with me, said, you know what, I'm gonna stop. We're gonna stop at the park. We're gonna do this last little bit, throw away everything. When we got to the park, well, we couldn't do it at the park because there was kids there. I have morals and ethics with kids. I didn't like doing it inside the house for that reason, because there was kids there. So I said, you know what, we can't do it here. So we ended up going down to the bowling alley. Bowling alley didn't work out because we thought it was one thing and it wasn't. It was something totally different. I didn't have enough money to go for bowling the way they wanted. They wanted like $22 a person to bowl one game. Like, oh, hell no. And so we left, and as we were crossing the street, I decided to do a little jaywalk. Not like I was in the crosswalk, but the last 10, 15 feet, I decided, I'm just going to jaywalk around it. Mm-hmm. And that's what they call it. And as I stepped out of the crosswalk, there was a cop that's pulling out of the parking lot on the other side of the store, and lighted me up, me and my partner, and they were like, all right. They talked to us about 10 minutes, and let me know I had a warrant for a failure to appear in San Bernardino. I was like, okay, I'll go take care of that. Wasn't a felony, it was just a traffic ticket. And then right before, he said, all right, we're going to let you go. And I'm like, all right, cool. But we're going to search you first. I was like, man, why? And yeah, I got busted with a dime sack of dope, crystal meth, and some paraphernalia, and I spent 22 hours in jail. Okay. And that is my run-in with the law as far as dope is concerned. I was about 27, about to be 28, 4 days away from my 28th birthday. First time I've ever been in jail. The only time I've ever been to jail. I spent 22 hours. Hardened criminal right here.
So between 19 when you started, were you able to keep a job? Well, what's your work history like through these years?
Oh yeah, I was always able to support my habit, so to speak. They would like to. A lot of people, when they say I'm a functioning addict, I didn't let it interfere with my job. I knew I had to work. I get high to go to work. Mm-hmm. Because if I'm gonna get high, I got all this energy, might as well go use it on something. So I used it to go to work, and nothing fell off as far as my work, except for the fact that when I wanted to get high, I was like, where is he at? I'd spend however long I needed to spend to get the right set of high before I went back to work. I even had a boss of mine ask me if I was high at one time, and I was like, no. He told me to get off the roof and go get high before you came back to work. I was like, okay. So it was kind of in the industry of roofing, it's kind of almost accepted, you know. And I think that's the, not saying that that was a reason to like, oh, it's okay to use, but I think that made it easier to be a functioning addict because everybody was an addict.
Do you see that a lot in construction?
Yes, yes, I've seen it. Except for when I was framing. I was framing with my cousins up northern Arizona, and you know they didn't use meth. They smoked weed, and you know they drank, but I don't really drink anymore. But you know they didn't smoke meth or do meth or anything like that. It was just so it was easier for me not to do it because I wasn't around it. Even though the town that I was in, it was all the way around, but I wasn't. I was happy at home. I was stable at home, and
Right.
once I lost stability at home, is when I ran back to it because that's my coping mechanism, and that's what I know.
That's your coping mechanism.
Yes, sir.
When you're looking for that instant gratification or that feel good, that's what
No more looking to numb the pain.
numb the pain.
Numb the pain. Forget about what reality is about right now. That's when it becomes, instead of becoming recreational, it becomes more of an addiction.
I understand that. So from how long ago did you get divorced or separate? Did you
4 years
separate?
ago.
4 years ago?
Yes, sir.
And from that divorce on, in the last 4 years, you were using?
More times than I can without yeah. The moment I left, I went straight to the dope man's house, got high, and it was a bad weekend too because it was Memorial Weekend, so I didn't have work on Monday, and I left on a Friday, so I had Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday all day to get high without having to worry about going home because I didn't have no home to go to. And it just in that 9-year difference from the time I stopped to the time I picked up again, the dope had changed. The quality of the dope seemed a little bit better, and the cost of it was extremely better. Like I remember back in the day, it was point for point. You know, you want a dub sack, you get 0.2 of a gram. Now I threw $20 on the table. I got an eighth. I was like, well, okay. So
Which we are not promoting people.
no, we're not. But the
yeah.
fact that it made it easier to fall deeper into my addiction or to get high better and numb the pain more.
Speak on that. So over the years, the quality of the dope has gone up and the price has gone down
To some extent.
to some extent. Do you see like a lot more of it out there?
Oh, it's a lot more and it's a lot cheaper, and that's what makes it more accessible, and that made it harder to quit this time.
Right.
Because, like I said, spending $20 to get a ball. Back in the day, you'd have to spend $150 to get a ball.
Right.
And you know, so me having an addictive personality as it is, you know, it was $40. Hey, I got a quarter. I could sit there and smoke that up for like a week.
So in the last 4 years, what damage have you seen your addiction play in your life?
Oh, well, it damaged the relationship between me and my daughter. My daughter today does not talk to me, and I love her to death. But I know why. It's not like I physically hurt her or did anything like that. It was I wasn't present. Physically, I might have been there in some aspects, but I told her I was going to quit, and I didn't. So pretty much I lied to her, and I try not to be a liar because I can't remember the lies, for one. But this one kind of, she's like, well, you know what, you're going to lie to me. I don't need you in my life. And now I'm reaping, you know, the consequences of that. And it does suck, but all I can do now is pray and let her know that I love her and I'm sorry. And hopefully one day she comes around and forgives me. That's all I can do. I didn't ruin any relationships that I had with anybody else, but it did play a factor in some of the relationships that I was in, especially when my partner at the time were users. It just created dishonesty, lack of trust, always arguing, especially if one's coming down and the other one's got some, or you know, one stays up and the other one wants to go to bed, and like, no, like, you know, it's just the communication level, the dishonesty, the unloyalty, the unfaithfulness, and everything would just played a part, and it just was not healthy at all.
And so coming into where are you now?
Now I'm in a rehab center out here in Tucson. Can't say exactly which one, but I'm in a center, and I can tell you right now, I am blessed to be here.
What made you walk in the doors? What made you want to go get clean?
About 10 days before I came here, I decided I was going to self detox, and I got high the last time. I thought was the last time, and the first day I stopped, it was cool. But the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh day was a totally different story. I was throwing up. Everything. I couldn't hold nothing down. I couldn't hold no food, no water, nothing down. And I mean, I've had a 24-hour bug before, but this was what's that? 6 days, 6 times 24 is what, 144 days, 144-hour bug. I'm good. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it anymore. So finally, on the 6th day of throwing up, I shit myself. And I was humiliated as fuck. I couldn't do it no more. I took a shower. I had a partner of mine close by, and I go to them and I'm like, hey, give it to me. And they're like, okay. And then instantaneously I was better. I was able to eat, I was able to drink, I was able to hold my food down, I was able to hold a conversation without having to go throw up. And I became codependent. And the fact that I was dependent on a foreign substance just to function, couldn't do it, bro. Couldn't do it. So I'm sitting there, told my mom that I'm going to rehab, and she was like, oh, okay. She kind of didn't believe me, but I told my partner, my person, that I was going to rehab, and she was about time. She was happy for me. And she has been one of my biggest supporters, along with one of my sisters. Oh, my whole family supports me in this, because they've seen that what it's done to me personally as cause I've gone through some shit. But coming here, where I'm at, I'm not gonna lie, I was real ashamed to come, because I thought it was for weak-minded people. And I'm gonna tell you right now, it's not. These are for strong people. I've met some solid people here, both men and women, and I gotta give it to the women here, because they are some strong people. They are. I hear some of their stories, and I'm like, there's no way I could have done what they did. But I'm ashamed I didn't come earlier.
Do you think guilt and shame is one reason why a lot of people don't go seek help?
I think not knowing. I think lack of knowledge of what it really is about is probably a reason why people don't seek the help. And not only that, I know a lot of people just don't like to ask for help because they're so used to being told no. I myself, I didn't ask a lot of people for help because I didn't like to be told no, knowing that there was a better chance for them to tell me no than yes. So I just, okay. So I didn't bother with it. So I just left it at that. So when I said, what, I'm gonna go help for myself. I didn't tell many people that I was coming. There was a reason behind it, because I didn't want to hear the criticism. I didn't care about it at all. But it was just, I don't need them worrying. I'm not doing it for them. I did it for myself. And like I said, I couldn't have been happier to made the decision at the time I made it. Like I said, I was ashamed I didn't come earlier, because this place has really helped me out. It's allowed me to find certain things out about myself that were there. I knew, but they just reconfirmed them. And yeah, I'm in a much better place. Sober mind and sober body has got me on a whole different kind of level than I've ever been.
And how long is this program that you're in?
It's going to take me, from the time I started to the time I discharge will be 150 days.
150 days?
Yes, sir.
That's what's up, bro. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Where do you see yourself going after recovery, after?
I'm not really sure. I mean, I got plenty of options. I can go back to work, which is always an option, which is fine for me. But I'm going to leave that one in God's hands, bro. Because if I take control over what I want to do, I'm just going to end up screwing up again. Not saying that I don't believe in myself, but I know myself. So I'm just going to let God take over. I left it in his hands the moment I walked through these doors. And he has truly shown me a different path that I should be taking. and I like the path that he's taking me on. Actually, I don't even like it. I love it. It's a more joyful path. It's a more righteous path, and it's not only going to benefit me, but it'll benefit a lot of others that are afraid to be here.
Amen to that. So last two questions. If you had a time machine and you could travel into the future, what advice will you give your future self?
My future self? Just stick with it. Don't lose faith. Keep doing it. Remember where you came from. Remember the BS that you went through. You know, as times got harder, you were at your bottom when you walked into those doors. The rock bottom to what I feel was rock bottom for me. You know, bouncing from couch to couch to couch to couch, which I know that doesn't seem like a bad thing, but it is. You know, lack of stability for me is the worst thing that could happen for me. You know, not knowing where I'm going to sleep the next day, not knowing where I'm going to get a meal, not knowing where I'm going to shower. You know, all these inconsistencies and what was going on in my life. You know, just remember what it was when you were out there messing around.
And what advice do you have for those who might want to pick up, who might want to try that drug for their first time?
Don't. It's a trap. And back for what I said earlier about when I was trying to detox before I came in here, I found out that I had fentanyl in my system. And I've never messed with it. That's not my deal. It's just not my drug of choice. And the fact that I was given fentanyl unknowingly, that could have killed me. It takes one hit and you're not knowing. And nowadays, dealers don't give a shit about you. They're just there about their money. Nobody, when you're in that game, nobody cares. It's not worth it. It's not worth your family's heartache and pain. If I would have something, I'm fortunate enough to still be here. Like my son could have lost his father, my daughter could have lost her father, and my mom could have lost a son. My brothers and sisters would have lost their brother. You know, I don't want to put my family through that. You guys don't want to put your family through that. Walk away. If you have a hard time, pick up a Bible. Call somebody, call a hotline, go find an NA meeting, go find somebody, anybody that's been down this path that I've traveled. If they're true and they have a heart, they will tell you don't do it. I'm telling you don't do it because it's not worth it. It's not worth losing everything you have. Look around what you have. If you have a house, you have your kids, you have a car, you have a job, and you value those things, don't do it. Because after a time, it may not happen right away, but within 3 months, you'll probably have you'll have one of them, if not none of them.
That's real. That's real. Well, Hank, man, I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you. We appreciate you sitting down just to tell your story. You know what I mean? Hopefully to save somebody's life. Hopefully, you know, to change somebody's course of actions.
I hope it does. I started when I was 19, and you know, and I'm no better than nobody that's ever done. I'm not better than anybody in this world. But you, listeners, are better than the drug of choice that you decide to use. Remember that. You're worth it. You're loved. If you're not loved by you feel like you're not loved by somebody, just remember about who your creator is. Because that man upstairs, he loves you. And he'll always love you. You know, we're not perfect. Nobody is in this world. That's for sure. Me most of all. And you give it to him, or whoever you want to give it to, as far as you know, whoever your higher power is, let them guide you, and they will guide you in the right direction.
Amen. Hank, man, we appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
This is your boy, the Big Head Dude. It was another one down. And again, if you're watching these, I appreciate you. Keep coming back, as they say in NA. Keep coming back.
It works if you work it.
You know?
And you're worth it.
As for that, man, subscribe, like the video, comment on the video, share the video. But like I said, please subscribe. I love you guys. We out of here. Bow.